Okay, welcome back. Uncut with Jay Cutler. We've got a pretty cool guest that I'm fired up about. Mark Cuban, owner of the Mavs, Shark Tank. He's done a bunch of stuff. I'm going to tell him his Wikipedia is like 30 pages long. He's has issues with refs. He's dove into politics. He's talked about the vaccine. He's a father of 3. Really an interesting guy. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I think a bunch of odd jobs. Moved to Dallas right after school. He actually went to Indiana. I'm from Indiana, so we're gonna be all over the map with him today, I think, and we'll see what's what. As always, if you got any questions, comments, feedback, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, and let us know how we're doing. I think we had some good ones coming up, but as always, I need an alien person here soon. Since my last adventure out in Montana, need to get to the bottom of some of this cow. I don't know if it's mutilation or what's happening, but need to get to the bottom of this. And if you know anybody that's big on this aliens out in West, hit me up. But let's get Cubes on and let's see what we got. Okay, this week we've got Mark Cuban. Thanks for coming on, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Where are you in Dallas?
Yeah, home.
You've been there for a while, huh?
Yeah, I came here right after I went to school in Indiana, so I came down way back when and haven't left.
Yeah, I read your Wikipedia is like 29 pages long.
It's crazy. Like 99% of it is true, but I try to write only the good stuff in there.
You, where were you from? Where'd you grow up?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, South Hills.
You have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I got 2 younger brothers, Brian and Jeff, and that's it.
Oh, you were the oldest one.
Yeah, I'm the old guy.
Okay. What were you like in school? Because I know there's a lot of there's billionaires and very successful people. Some of them are really good in school. Some of them weren't good in school. Some of them took a whole different route and didn't care at all. What were you like?
I was good in school, but I was a nerdy kid without the technology, man. Let's see, I'm about 6'2.5" now. 6'3" is my NBA height, and back then I was my junior year in high school. I was about 5'9", and I weigh about 195 now, and I probably weighed 220 then.
Oh wow!
And so I had the glasses.
Yeah.
And if you would have seen my 16-year-old picture, it's just crazy. So I was just like that nerdy kid that had my buddies who were still my friends, and then, when I got to college, I grew up.
That's how I was. Well, I grew I think I grew 1.5 inches my freshman year in college.
Yeah.
And gained probably 15, 20 pounds those first couple of years.
I grew like 4 inches, but lost about 20 pounds. So it was good.
Did you have a bunch of jobs growing up? What was your childhood like?
Yeah, man, my dad kept me working. My dad did upholstery on cars. And so like if you had a rip in your car seat, you took it to my dad. And he would have me in there working on weekends, sweeping the floor, cleaning stuff. Because his thing was, I want you to know you don't want a job like this.
Yeah.
And I had, growing up in Pittsburgh, the ultimate job was to get a job working in a steel mill.
Yeah.
And he was like, hell no. Mm-hmm. Hell no. Like, if you could get into a union, when I was 16, 17, if you can get a job in the summer working as a union job in a steel mill, you were killing the game, right?
Sure.
Those were the guys with all the money.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, no. And so my mom, was worried I didn't have a career. And so she made sure I learned how to lay carpet, so I was an apprentice for laying carpet. So if you're ever walking in an office building in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and you trip, it's probably because I put that carpet down. But then after that, I got into business big time. We're about the same time. And so I dropped out of high school. My junior year of high school, I started taking classes at night at the University of Pittsburgh, and they wouldn't let me take the couple business classes they had at Mount Lebanon High School where I went my junior year. So I said, screw it, I'll just go to college and take those classes there. And so that's where I kind of really geared into business. And then from there, I transferred to Indiana.
Did you like Indiana? I grew up in Southern Indiana. So Bob
Wait, what
Knight.
town?
I grew up in Santa Claus, Indiana, down by Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, yeah, I love Bloomington, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been there then, so Bloomington was fun.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, they have a really good time. Was the bike race and stuff and everything happening then?
Oh, yeah, Little Five, yeah, it was
Yeah.
rocking, man.
Yeah.
Little Five had the regatta, where it's stuff on the water at
Yeah.
Lake Monroe and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, I whenever I was at Vandy, we went up to the Little Five one weekend, and it was because Vandy's a smaller school. There's only 6,000 undergrads there. So whenever we got up there and they were doing it, I was like, "Whoa, this is a completely different animal up here."
Yeah, we would start drinking at 7 in the morning. Like my senior year of college,
Yeah.
I opened up a bar, and we would on Little Five Day we would start our drink specials at 7 in the morning, like 10-cent beers at 7 a.m. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you learned a lot though doing that. I mean, socializing with people, working with people.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what it's about. So, and then you moved to Dallas after that at some point.
Yeah, so my buddies from Indiana
Yeah.
went down to Dallas, and they're like, "You got to come down here." And my thing was, I wanted to go someplace warm, but I had a car that wouldn't make it to LA, and so I was like, "Okay, if I can't make it to LA, Dallas is only an 8-hour drive, so I'm coming." And made it. My car barely. I had a car with like a hole in the floorboard and all this, and had to put oil in it, every 60 miles, and so it barely made it, but it made it, and I got down to Dallas. My buddies lived in this place called the Village, which was the largest apartment complex in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
And I came in and slept on the floor, 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment. It was like no big deal.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's what college is about. Like once you leave college, those first couple of years, like you'll do damn near anything. I mean, sleep on floors, couches, work. It's just that's life.
Yeah, I mean, you're 22 years old. What the fuck,
Yep.
right? It's just like
Exactly.
you're trying to pretend to be an adult, but you still want to have fun like you're still in college.
Mm-hmm.
And worked as a bartender at night. I got a job, a regular job during the day, and we would throw parties, do everything, man. It was a blast.
We joke around on this show, but I want to get serious for a second. When I think of high-end art, I think of legends like Picasso, Warhol, and Monet. Artists that belong in the walls of museums. But Masterworks, the online investment platform, sees it as an alternative asset class that can potentially build generational wealth. And when you consider that contemporary art outperformed the SP 500 by 174% from 1995 through 2020, it's easy to see why. Through Masterworks, regular folks like you and me can get in on blue chip art market without being as rich as Jerry Jones. Here's how it works. Masterworks buys a piece of art, then it files the work with the SEC, sort of like a filing for an IPO. Then you can buy shares representing an investment in that painting. Masterworks holds the piece for a while, and when they sell it, you get a prorated portion of the profit. Boom, you're an art investor. Art investing won't be some flash in the pan. It's a long-term move. Over 230,000 investors have signed up and more than $250 million have been invested with Masterworks. You've got to check it out. Go to masterworks.io/Cutler to get priority access to their exclusive community investing in excellent art. Again, that's masterworks.io/Cutler. See important disclosures at masterworks.io/disclaimer. When did you start really getting into? I mean, did you know that you wanted to get into business, or if you wanted to be an investor, like you always knew that? Oh, really?
From the time I was 10, 11 years old, I was always hustling because that was the way I was raised. It was like neither one of my parents went to college, and it was like if you want something, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And you got to get a job, you got to work it out. However, and always had some side hustle going, no matter what job I worked or what my parents were trying to get me to do. And so, yeah, from selling baseball cards to buying and selling stamps, you name it, to, selling stuff door to door, to when I got to college, we would throw parties and I was party promoter. And then I took over the bar that I did the promotions at until we got busted because I let in all my friends because I wasn't 21 and they weren't 21.
Uh-huh.
Thank God. Otherwise I'd still be, tending bar in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah. And
then when we got to Dallas, I got a job working at a club called Alon's at night as a barback and bartender. So I was always wherever I could get a hustle going on and run a business I could.
What was your first big one in Dallas? When you're like, hey, I've got this under control. Like I can do this.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever said I had it under the control, but
Yeah.
I got fired. I got a job working at a software store and in Dallas, and so I got fired because my boss wanted me to come in and open the store, and I wanted to go out and close the deal. I had told a customer, "Look,
Yeah.
I'm going to come out and get this check from you and close this deal." And my boss was like, "No, you need to open a store." And I made the executive decision that if I go pick up the check, which is going to give me a $1,500 commission, which is going to allow me to move out of the fucking dump that I lived in and actually get my own place. And
Sure.
so I did it, and the guy Michael Humecki fired my ass, fired me, and so here I was, didn't have the commission, still sleeping on the floor, and
Yep.
I was like, I'm just not a good employee, right? Now's the time to go do my thing, and that's what I did. So I started a company called Micro Solutions, still sleeping on the floor. I went and talked to this company that was one of my prospects when I was selling software, and I was like, look, I got nothing. If you front me money so I can start this company, I promise you, so they needed to give me $500 because that's what I was going to sell them the software for, and I was going to buy it for $250, which gave me enough to live for the first couple of weeks, right, sleeping on the floor. So they fronted me the money. I did a good job for them. They referred me to somebody else, and that company, Micro Solutions, starting while I'm sleeping on the floor, grew to a 30-some million-dollar a year sales, and I sold it for $6 million. And so that was my first, escape.
Was there ever a point, you had the $250, was there ever a point in those couple of weeks where like, hey, like this could go bad here. This might not work out for
Oh
me.
yeah, I have no idea. Like I remember being hungover,
Yeah.
laying in bed, thinking, "Okay, I've been in business 1 month now,
Uh-huh.
1 month,
Yeah.
right?" And I'm just busting my ass, and going out once a week, and I'm living off of fried mushrooms at bars, right? You go for dinner,
Uh-huh.
I go buy a beer for $3 and then live off the mushrooms. I'm thinking, "Oh shit, I have no choice, I got to make this work. I don't want to go back to the grind of working for somebody else." And so for the first 4 years, I mean, we had it for 1982, 1980. We had it for 7 years before we sold it. The first 4 years, I was terrified every day.
Yeah. So you put yourself in a corner. It was plan A. There was no plan B. Like this is all
Yeah,
this is all I got to do.
yeah,
There's
for sure. I mean, there was no plan B.
yeah. I like that. I mean, a lot of people I think now they've got plan A, B, C, D, and like they lose track of plan A at some point.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, when you're broke,
Yep.
you're back against the wall. Well, what's the worst that could have happened to me? I would have still been broke,
Yeah.
right? And so there was no reason not to try it. And Damon John on Shark Tank calls it the power of broke, and I agree with him. It's just like when you got nothing to lose, and that's exactly where I was at. I mean, my biggest risk, if it all just fell apart, was that my other buddies would move out, and I'd have to get another 5 roommates.
Yeah.
Um, and another quick story, man. During that time, like my car had busted up, and while I was out, and I had to junk it, and while I was out with my friends, we were driving by, and there's this Trans Am on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And as somebody who was used to having the bill collectors call them all the time and listening on the answer machine, I'm like, I guarantee you that somebody just abandoned that car, right? Because it was like a legit car,
Uh-huh.
and no one just leaves it on the side of the road. So I'm like,
No.
pull over.
Yeah.
So we pull over, the doors open, and there's the papers right on the front seat. And I'm like, okay, this guy's just like in my boat. He had a bill collector
Yep.
chasing him, was tired of it. And so I called the bank because I didn't have the credit to be able to get a loan. And I said, hey, I found this car. Would you let me take over the payments? And they said yes. And so that's how I got my first real car.
That is unbelievable.
It's insane.
On the side of the road.
On the side of the road, Trans Am.
So then, I mean, fast forward. I mean, you did a bunch of stuff, and then broadcast.com, you sold that, and that was kind of the jumping point for everything,
Yeah, that was
I'm going to imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was in good shape before then
Sure.
because I had fun when we started it. But yeah, when no one knew what streaming was, and we went for it. And at the time, we were the biggest and the baddest. And when Yahoo came along, it was like, okay, here's $5.7 billion in stock. And I'm like, okay, now that we got this, I got to figure out how to protect it. I owned a third of the company, and so it was like the internet stock market wasn't going to stay up there forever. So I hedged it. That protected me, and that allowed me to buy the Mavs.
Were you ever? I mean, I know that you hedged it. I mean, that was a ballsy call, I feel like.
Oh yeah, I mean they called it one of the top 10 trades in the stock market of all time, man.
Yes.
But I mean, I think it was just about not being greedy. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was smart. It was just
Yeah.
like, how much fucking money do you need?
I
You know,
totally agree.
I was never one of those. Yeah, I was never one of those people who's like, oh man, let's just more.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to party like a rock star the rest of my life and just have fun.
Yeah.
And I just want to protect what I have.
Yeah. Keep what you got. Like, you don't need, like, I mean, that's enough for 10 lifetimes. If you do it right.
Yeah, and even if you do it half wrong.
You're probably more than half. You can still be fine.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so, growing up the way I did, it wasn't like, okay, I just got to get higher on the Forbes 400 or whatever.
Yeah.
That never crossed my mind at all. It was more like, what can I do to enjoy it?
Exactly. So why basketball?
I've been a basketball junkie, for my entire life.
Oh, have you?
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I still go out and play pickup. You know, my way of relaxing now is I go in the backyard and we've got a couple hoops on the tennis court, and I'll just go out there and shoot by myself. That's how I just, before a game like we play the Heat tonight, I'll go down to the court, and before the guys come on and start warming up, I'll just get up shots. That's just, my way of relaxing.
That's awesome. Have you felt like since you've owned the team and you've been more involved, not more involved, but you've just had it longer, that spotting talent and knowing the right type of guys you want and growing the culture, like you think that you've gotten better and better over age with doing that stuff? Or
I wish I could say yes.
Yeah.
But it hasn't gotten any easier, unfortunately. You think but then you look back at how many mistakes, whether it's me or general manager, whoever's in our organization. There's just no easy. It's like quarterbacks, right?
Sure.
There's just no easy way to know for sure.
Wow.
You've seen, how many guys have you seen that are incredibly talented and gifted and just can't put it together?
Yeah.
And basketball is no different. I mean, it's all those intangibles that make the difference. And some guys are obvious, but nobody's ever picked somebody at number 1, 2, or 3 in the NBA draft thinking they were going to be a bust.
No.
It's hard to know until it's too late.
It is, and it is very hard to know. Especially, I mean, you guys are picking some of these guys so young too. I mean, at least NFL,
really
you get a little bit of college experience. You get a little bit more. You get to see a little bit more of what they possibly could become. But I mean,
even then, right? Particularly quarterback, right? The skill positions, because it's what's up here that's 90% of the funnel, and what's in here that's the other 90%, right?
Yep.
And kids today, I don't know if you've seen this with NFL players, but like from when you played to even like 25, 26-year-old dudes to 21-year-olds, all different, right?
Oh, completely.
There's like the pre-internet days kind of, then there's the pre-Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok days, and now it's Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok kids that look at things completely different. It's all video. It's not reading. It's, it's not playbooks. It's just a completely different beast and how they consume and how they learn and how they get motivated. And so you have to adapt all the time, and it's hard.
I feel like it's happened really quickly in the last 3 to 5 years. Like we almost had this fast forward button. I mean, I remember when I first got into the league, like they were printing out papers. Your playbook was in a binder with paper, and you had a pencil, and you're going through there, doing your reads and stuff like that.
Right.
And now, like, they're doing VR stuff. Everything's on iPads. You're emailing stuff out immediately. Like I had to go into the office and wait for them to print it off on Mondays to get the game plan. And now it's a whole different
totally different stuff.
Yeah.
And how you coach kids is totally different as well, because they don't take, your generation versus like a 27-year-old versus a 21-year-old. All are coached differently. Like if you're a college coach right now, I don't even know how the hell you're dealing with it, right? Because it's, and because kids, particularly in basketball, like they're already brand names when they're 15 and 16 years old. Yeah. And, now they've got Overtime Elite and these other groups, G League Elite, and they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're 16, 17 years old, on top of their name, image, and likeness, on top of what they're getting for sponsor money for what they're doing on social media. It
So
is just, there's going to be kids that are taking pay cuts to go to the NBA and the NFL.
yeah, I mean, some of these kids are, like you said, I mean, they're coming into it already established business, have their money, have it all laid out, and they haven't even stepped a foot on a professional court yet.
Exactly.
Which go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm doing Zooms with kids at Indiana, explaining to them how to monetize.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a different beat.
Do you like the new NIL stuff for college or no?
I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
Because in the first year, it's all found money for everybody, right?
Yep.
So everybody's really happy.
Yep.
But then all the jealousy and all the competitiveness starts taking over, and you're starting to see kids transfer because they're not making enough money.
Yeah. And you're also going to look at some of these boosters. They're used to putting money into the fields, into the weight rooms and stuff, and now they're going to start putting money into just absolute players. And if that player doesn't perform the right way, like you're not getting the benefit of your money. So now, like, where does it fall? Do it fall to the coaches? Does it fall to the organization? Does it fall to the university?
Or, you don't have the right schedule because you're not on TV enough, or you didn't get that bull appearance. So my kid doesn't get this visibility. And, fortunately, I own an NBA team, so they can't come to me for money. They know there's limits on what I can do.
Yep.
And so I can only program stuff. But like I was talking to some guy who, for an unnamed university, and he's like, look, I own a chain of Mexican restaurants. Mm-hmm. And so any kid with a Hispanic sounding last name, I just gave him $5,000. Right? Because I'm bringing them in, and and I'm like, I don't know exactly how to take that or what that really means, but it's just a crazy, scenario that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that kid from, that went to Ohio State, he just left high school early because he was going to get $1 million. I mean, I don't blame him.
No, of course not.
I mean, I get it, but at some point these kids have to perform though too, it's just hard.
They do and they don't, right? Because if you can keep your social media presence strong, for whatever reason, right, you can get your money's worth, right?
Sure.
If you do perform and you have social media, that's a bonus. But that's just like the risk for any pro player too.
Yep. Build some confidence into your new winter wardrobe and RSVP yes to every holiday invite on your calendar with new looks from Express. Express offers confidence-boosting styles designed for real-life versatility in every holiday event on your schedule. And if you're going to make it through the holidays, you better be comfortable. So check out Express sweaters. They're seriously soft and versatile. Their sweater flannel is handsome and comfy, and it comes in classic silhouettes like turtleneck, crew neck, and V-neck. And of course, Express has all the essentials, including their new long-sleeve Henleys and their classic crew necks. Be on the lookout for great deals in their stores or online at express.com. Find a fit for every RSVP at Express. Have you found that, you were talking about the difference in generations and these kids and stuff, like with social media, and like these guys have like voices now. I mean, they can get out there. I mean, much different than it was. I mean, even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever I was playing, like you worked for the organization. That was it. Like, there was organization, there was coaches, and then those players somewhere down at the bottom. And now these guys they're challenging every aspect of everything, it seems like.
100, yeah, for sure. Right. The NBA has been more talent driven, right? The players have always been bigger than the game.
Sure.
The NFL always, and Major League Baseball even more, has been about the shield, right? Mm-hmm. What's on the center of the field.
Yep.
And that's always had the greatest amount of control and leverage.
Yeah.
It's just different in the NBA. I mean, the NBA are thought leaders. Our players are thought leaders. Mm-hmm. They have a social impact. And to me, that's a really good thing. Now, it pisses some people off sometimes, but that's okay, right? Because if you can try to make whatever you think is better,
sure.
If you as a citizen in this country can make it better, more power to you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's tougher for NFL players for sure, just because you're behind. You've got your helmet, and like if 53 Cowboys players walked in the door, you might recognize 4 of them, right?
Maybe, yeah.
And 49, you're not going to know. Mm-hmm. 15 Mavs players walk in the door, kids playing 2K, they're going to recognize all of them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's totally different. I mean, you get to see all the basketball players' faces. There's 82 games. We played 16. We had helmets on.
Right.
And there's fewer basketball players. I mean, it's just a different.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 450, right? Plus the two ways. And the other thing is, like, there's 15 minutes of actual playing time in an NFL game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sit in, and I think that's why the ratings are so much higher than all other sports.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to make a real commitment, right? You can be doing your fantasy team, you can
Yep.
be betting,
Yep.
you could be, eating your Fritos, you can be
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever
Mm-hmm.
because you only have to commit really 15 minutes of time
Yeah.
to watch the game.
Exactly.
Whereas a basketball game, it's a real 48 minutes, and with baseball, it's 16 hours a game.
Gosh.
And so that's just,
I don't know how
it's crazy.
I don't know how the MLB is like functioning. Like 162 games. I mean, I just don't. The stadiums. I don't understand how they make it happen, but obviously they do.
They wouldn't let me in. I told them it'd be a whole, I'd be the one owner you don't want, right? Just because I'd be telling my guys to flip their bats and, ham it up and make it fun. And
I was watching something. It might have been on ESPN, but there was a team down in like Georgia or something, and it was like AAA or AA, and they basically made it fun as hell. They were like like walk up music, all this kinds of stuff for the fans, and like it was like and now it's like every game is like sold out.
Because why do you go to a baseball game? To drink beer, eat hot dogs, hang with your buddies or friends or girlfriends or wives or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And chill.
Yep.
You don't have to get there in the first inning because you didn't really miss anything, and you don't have to stay to the ninth if it's not a great game. And so, hey, I'm a Pirates fan and a Rangers fan, and so it's all about going just for the fun. And look, going to an NFL game can be fun, the tailgating and everything, and an NBA game, the yelling and screaming and everything going on. But at least when the action is on, there's action. Baseball now with strikeouts and everything, it's just a different game.
It is a different game. It's I grew up a Cubs fan, still I'm a Cubs fan, but it's hard. It's a marathon to get involved in that.
Yeah.
Did you know Luka was going to be what he is?
This good this soon now.
Yeah.
Did we think he'd be good? Yeah, that's why we traded up to get him. But this soon? No. He's amazing.
He is such a talent. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, really. And he's a good kid too, man. He's got a heart of gold.
That's awesome.
He's fun. He's got a great personality. He's smart. Yeah, we got lucky,
Do you worry about super teams and the kind of the direction the NBA is going, or do you think it'll peel off at some point?
Yeah, it peels off. Like now you're starting to hear guys, Damian Lillard and others, talk about wanting to stay with their teams.
Yeah.
And I think things go in trends, right? But yeah, I don't worry so much about super teams because everybody plays by the same rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much money to spend.
It's a soft cap, unlike the NFL, but there's still only so much money you can spend, and there's always risks. You look at the current super teams and you see what's going on, and there's risks. Nothing's a sure thing.
No, yeah, I mean it's hard. I think it's hard to mesh, three super talented dudes on one team together and make it all gel. And there's only one basketball.
Only one, and chemistry matters. There's a lot of talented teams that couldn't make it with talent alone.
How did I've got to dive into this because everyone's asking about it. How'd you get involved in Shark Tank?
Oh, cool. I auditioned for it, right? So
you've done a lot of film and TV stuff.
I love that stuff, right?
Yeah, you're good at it.
One side of your brain, right, where it's just like I know exactly what I'm doing with business. The acting thing is like you got to let go of all that stuff and you have no control and all that, and it's hard for me. Yeah. So that's why I like doing it. But the Shark Tank is easy because it's business. But I auditioned. They made me sit in this little box while they threw all these business questions in these scenarios because I came in as a guest in the second season, and then they liked what I did, and I came on full time in the third year, and now we're in season 13.
That's a hell of a run.
It is for TV. It's incredible, right?
It is.
I'm waiting for it to die off, but we keep on, overall TV ratings are down for regular shows, but we still win our night on Friday nights. It's crazy. People still watch it. They watch the replays. They show it 30 hours a day on CNBC, and so it's always showing somewhere around the world.
Well, I think it's real, and people can appreciate that, and you guys do a good job of, being interactive and creating a little bit of drama from time to time. So, I mean, people enjoy it.
Yeah, it is real though. I mean, that's 100%. I mean, they don't tell us it's not scripted. It's our money. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they're smart and you get lucky, and sometimes they're idiots and you got it wrong, you know?
Is there one that you passed on? You're like, damn it, like that. I knew it in my gut, and I just didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, spike ball. That's the one that I
Oh,
feel like, you know, it was like, God, the guy wanted to create spike ball leagues. And he
yeah.
wanted me to be like pseudo commissioner.
Uh
I'm
huh.
like, I love what you guys are doing, but I don't want to do all that work.
That's a lot.
You know, and now every time I go anywhere where there's a beach or anything or kids,
Yep.
spike
Spike
balls
balls.
everywhere. And freaking Luca brings spike ball to the Mavs practice facility and they're playing spike ball. And I'm like, thanks, Luca. You got to rub it in. And every time he knows, right?
Uh huh.
You know,
Are you going? I mean, because I mean, you only get a certain amount of time with these people. Are you going off of? I mean, you're obviously judging the person and the product, and there's numbers involved. But I mean, is pretty much a gut call on some of these?
no, I mean, I've been doing it long enough now. You've got a good sense. And plus, we know we get to do due diligence after the fact. So someone can come in and say, you know, Jay walks in and stands on the carpet and says, I have $2 million in sales. And then you find out they hope to have $2 million and they really have 2,000, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they'll lie their asses off all the time. So we
Ah.
get to do due diligence to confirm everything. So we can take a little bit of a chance knowing that if it's not legit what they tell us, we don't have to do the deal.
Oh, that's cool then.
Yeah, but I mean, not all of them lie. So, I mean,
Yeah,
if it's legit, we'll do the deal. I will, anyways.
that's good. Which guest shark did you have you liked the most throughout it all?
Kevin Hart comes on this season. He's great. Kendra Scott was great. I like Bethany Frankel. She was great.
Uh huh.
A-Rod did a good job. Charles Barkley did a good job. But I, I, I don't know. Emma Greedy, who does Skims, I think it's called, and American Goods. She
Mm-hmm.
was amazing. She
Mm-hmm.
was super sharp. Um, so there's been a lot of really good ones, a lot of good guests. But I think Kevin, when you see what Kevin does, he kills it, just kills it.
He's incredibly talented.
Yeah, I mean, put aside the comedian part of it, guy knows his business too.
Yeah.
Like the things, like when you're a guest shark, like when I came on as a guest shark, they knew I was a technology guy, so they did a lot of technology stuff.
Yeah.
And for him, they did a lot of branding and marketing type stuff. And the stuff that was in his wheelhouse, I mean, he was sharp.
Was on
I
it.
mean, sharp, sharp, sharp. He knew his stuff as a business person, and so it was impressive. He got a couple of really good deals.
Oh, good. Good for him. That's awesome. You've got kids, right?
Yeah, three.
How
Yeah.
old? How old are they?
12. My son Jake is 12, just turned 12. My middle daughter is Alyssa. She just turned 15. And Alexis is 18, trying to go to Vandy.
Okay. Why? Is Vandy number one on her?
Yeah, she early decision to Vandy and
Oh,
been
good.
doing all the meetings and all that
Yep.
kind of stuff. And so she's got good grades. Hopefully she'll get in.
Yeah. Hopefully she gets in. Nashville's blowing up right now, so she'd have some
Ooh.
fun.
That's why she liked it. You know, she's like, "Oh, Dad, this school is great." And oh, by the way, Nashville. And I'm like, I already know.
How? I mean, because I've got three kids. I'm a little behind you. 9, 7, and 5. Um,
Yeah.
how?
Boys or
You're
girls?
boy, girl.
Oh, there you go.
So my 9-year-old, he's on 2K and Madden if he's not outside. So like he's all over it. But how are you
Yep.
how are you guys raising kids in today's age and social media and everything else? It's so hard.
As best we can, man. As best we can, right? It's just a battle.
Uh huh.
Like my oldest is they're all on social media, right? Because that's just the way it is,
Yep.
right? And my oldest was like big time TikTok. Like we would do we would do TikToks together, and she has like 400,000 followers. But like I was talking to her last night, and I don't want to mislead people. Like she's an 18-year-old senior in high school,
Yeah.
and the total talking time per week, other than me asking her, texting her, "Where are you when you're coming home?" is about 6 minutes, right? So as much as I try to talk to her and want to
Yeah.
talk to her, and would go to dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever, every single day of the week with her, because um, she's actually really cool, really smart. She's got her own thing rolling, and she's independent. She knows as long as we can trust her and she does well in school,
Yeah.
she gets leeway, and so she's doing her thing. My middle daughter is starting crew rowing. and she's getting her grades. Her grades are actually getting pretty good now, and so we kind of challenge her if you want to do these other things. But she's on TikTok, like my 12-year-old on TikTok all day, every day, and that's really how they keep up with everything going on in the world.
Yeah.
It's not like they're reading newspapers, watching the
No.
news like we might have. It's like not even Instagram, right?
Yeah.
All TikTok all day. And it's hard to, I have a TikTok account and I try to stay up with it and follow them and see what's going on and all that. But that's just like, when I was growing up, you watch TV and your parents yelled at you for watching too much TV and don't sit so close to the TV. Now we can yell at them, but it's going to fall on deaf ears because they'll just lay in bed and
do it.
TikTok all night.
I feel like these kids know so much more than I knew as a teenager. Like, I mean, these kids at 15 know more about the world and everything than I knew when I felt like I was like 25.
Yeah, because we had gatekeepers for everything we saw, right?
Yeah.
There are no gatekeepers on the internet, and there are no gatekeepers on social media, and that's scary on one end. But on the other end, they all know that as well too, right? We had to create our own boundaries a little bit, but
Sure.
The kids know where the trouble points are, and they might dip their toes in there to find out what they don't like. But for the most part, like my kids, I worry about them like any parent does, but I'm not like, oh my God, social media is going to screw them up.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, as long as you got boundaries and you've done it, I'm sure you guys have done an excellent job of, laying out boundaries, morals, and ethics, and all that stuff.
You never know until it's too late. Like when my kids were your age, it was easy, right? They listened.
Sure. Yes.
Yes. It was like, if you want this, you got to do that, right? And it's like, you got to read in order, for every hour you read, you get another hour on social media. And I thought I was smart.
Yeah.
And then my oldest turned 15 and my wife and I got really stupid really fast, and anything we said was just dumb as shit. And anything she said was the hardest thing ever. And that hasn't changed.
I feel like my 5-year-old daughter's already there. She's a piece of work.
Yeah, they're spunky.
They're really
spunky.
Oh yeah.
Boys are easy. Like my 12-year-old, it's just sports.
Yep.
2K.
Yep.
Poop jokes.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
We talk about Dutch ovens and messing around and doing stupid shit and walk up and start boxing. We're close, right? We can talk about anything, right? It was harder with my.
Yeah, girls are hard. Girls are tough, and I can already see it coming. Hopefully, we get a little closer, and then I know that's gonna, at some point, whenever she's a teen, she's gonna go do her thing, and I'll be, like you said, I'll be the dumbest human that she's ever met. But it'll circle back around.
When my daughter would hit 12, I'll never forget. I said something. She goes, just gave me the hand and turned her head around and walked away. I'm like, oh my God. My life has changed.
Every 60 seconds, not one, but 2 children are trafficked. And every 30 seconds, one is forced into exploitation for the purpose of heinous acts.
Human trafficking is happening in your own backyard. It is happening to your neighbors.
Many whom we see every day in our own communities, hidden in plain sight.
There's kids out there that are being bought and sold 20 times a day.
We must bring the child back to the center of our care and concern. Today we launch Goya Cares.
Goya Cares is committed to supporting victims and overcomers of trafficking and abuse, to recover, restore, reconnect, and to shine the light that will block traffic.
This is where we become the light.
God saved me. I believe that I was called to this. Perhaps He's calling you too.
Block traffic.
Join Goya Cares and visit blocktraffic.org.
I only got a couple more for you. I know you got a big day.
Okay.
You've dipped your foot into politics from time to time. You ever gonna make a run into anything or no?
No, man. My family's too important to me.
Yeah.
And I had too much fun, and everybody wants to bring up anything you ever did wrong.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't need to throw that in everybody's face. It's not like I have some great solution that's worth throwing my family under the bus for.
Totally get that. It's once you go into that world, like you said, they'll uncover every stone and they'll make stuff up, and some of it's real, some of it's not. It's just nuts.
Some of it's not, right?
Yep. I saw you guys lifted the COVID mandate for home games.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, right? So when we put the COVID mandate in place, there were like 1,900 cases per day.
Sure.
And we said when they get under 500 cases per day in Dallas County, we'll take a look at removing them, right? So now I think last week it was 284. And so we said, okay, as long as the cases stay low, we're going to remove the vaccine mandate and the test mandate. We'll still keep masks. Dallas County reduced their threat level, so that was good as well. But we still, one of the reasons we did it was we have a lot of customers actually who are like cancer survivors or immunocompromised.
Sure.
And we talked to them for fun, and it was just like, okay, before we make any changes, how can we protect you guys? And so we created these sections where we have super strict protocols.
Yep.
So you might not have to have a vaccine for sitting over here, but sitting in this section with them, you still have to be vaccinated, have your mask on all the time. If you want something to eat, you have to get out of the section, but that before you sit in that section.
Yeah.
So we felt like if we could protect our customers, we can make it a little bit easier for others.
Yeah, I mean, kind of making the best of both worlds for everybody.
Yeah, because you can't be perfect no matter what, but the way I looked at it, if you're a cancer survivor, you didn't pick that.
No, not at all.
It picked you.
Yeah.
And so, I just felt that was important. And, our CEO, Cint Marshall, who's incredible. She's an incredible businesswoman, and I depend on her a lot. She's a cancer survivor as well. And so she had friends who were in similar circumstances. And so she put together a program that is really, we're really proud of. But I trust her a lot for her judgment. And so I think we're in really good shape.
That's great. It's it's a crazy world we're living in right now, as you know. But like it seems like you guys are trying to manage it the best possible way so that everyone's getting what they need.
There's no perfect solution. And look, I read all the studies, I look at all the data, and the people who argue against it, I understand their perspective, and I look at the data. But at the end of the day, I've got to make the decision.
Yeah.
And when it's all said and done, if it's pissing somebody off versus, trying to reduce the risk for somebody else, I'll reduce the risk as much as I can.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it. I thank you. Thanks for coming on. I wish you guys the best of luck down there. Camden, my 9-year-old is a huge Luka fan, so he's gonna be pumped about this one.
Well, bring him down for a game. We'll hook you up and let you guys meet him.
I'd love to.
Appreciate it, Jay. Thanks for the interview. It was great.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, that's a wrap. Mark Cuban. It was a fun one. If you're a Mavs fan, check out Luka and the rest of the squad. They're amazing player. Learned a lot. He's got a lot of insight into business, obviously life, fatherhood. But hope you enjoyed that one. We've got more to come the next few weeks. Got some good ones coming on. And like always, hit me up if you've got any feedback, anybody you want to see on, anybody you didn't like, or anything that I need to be doing different. So thanks for watching, listening. Uncut with Jay Cutler, and that's a wrap.